Good morning everybody, thanks for joining me again. Well, if you watched a couple of videos back, you will have seen me at this spot in some really bright sunlight trying to take some pictures of these trees. Well, this wasn't the plan this morning, but there's been mist and fog over the last couple of days over Christmas, and I thought I'd take the opportunity this morning to try and see if this area was any better today. Now, there is some fog on top of the hills here and a little bit in the valley, but it just hasn't quite got to this spot just yet. However, there's no bright sunlight, so as I walked in here this morning, I suddenly saw so many more trees, and this is really a gem. And as before, really difficult to get to, so I doubt I'm going to see anybody else. So let me show you what I'm trying to do at the moment in the back of camera. So I've put a circular polariser on the front just to help with the colours. The moss and everything is a little bit damp this morning, so nice to cut down some of the glare. Again, I want a decent depth of field in one shot, so f11, ISO 100, which is the base ISO on this, even though it goes a little lower. This is a Sony A6600 and gives me a shutter speed of 2.5 seconds to get quite a good exposure. Clipping the highlights at the top there, but I'm going to cut them out afterwards in post-processing, so I can darken it a little bit, maybe go down to 1.6 seconds. Yeah, it's quite nice. Focus in on the main trunk, put a 2-second timer on so I'll get no vibration in the camera, and there we go. Well, this tree was a really difficult subject to photograph, really interesting, but just trying to get the composition right was difficult. The portrait shot included far too much sky, and even cropping it to a square, you can see there's still some left, and the sort of base of the tree, bottom sort of half of the photograph works, but the top really doesn't. So I then tried a portrait shot, got a little closer, and as you can see, was able to take the sky out completely, and this is more what I was after. And also the two trees, the one on the foreground on the left and the one further back on the right, trying to match up the different branches on either side of the photograph was quite a challenge. So let's have a quick look around. There's obviously this main tree here that I came to photograph last time. Lovely structure and some really interesting trees behind. And again, shooting down the hillside here, so I'm not getting the highlights in when I crop the sky out. And if I spin you around more, again looking downhill towards the River Dart, there's even more. Let's move the camera down slightly so you can see. Just here there's a whole jumble of trees, very chaotic, but there's got to be some nice shots in there. There are some trees that stand out on their own. If I go around here further, maybe in the distance here, there's some standalone trees which I'll go and have a look at in a bit. Now, having found such a lovely woodland like this, what I don't want to do is spoil it. So where I'm standing right now, as you can see, there's lots of fallen leaves. It's quite flat. I'm going to try and stick to that, and I can see some sort of animal tracks going through, so I'm going to stick to those and not step over all these lovely mossy boulders. I know I've got some followers that whenever I post a woodland like this get a little upset that it might be Wisman's Wood in Dartmoor. Now, as you probably know, that's really visited by a lot of people. You can see almost a train of people up and down during the day, and Unfortunately, that has started to spoil the woodland and the boulders, but you still see a lot of photographs from there. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of other woodlands here on Dartmoor, and this is another quite special one. So, need to be very, very careful. I'm not going to climb over all these boulders. If there's a shot that I can see but I can't get to, then I won't take the shot. I think this is about the 4th time I've been here, and each time it has been really difficult to get to this spot. And this woodland has probably been here for thousands of years. So let's leave it as I find it, shall we? So I think there might be a shot that way. Again, lots of dead leaves here, so I can stay on here, stay back. Not sure about it, but let's take it anyway. Some ivy hanging down, which I'm not sure whether it makes a shot or not. Let's give it a go, shall we? Just as I started to line this shot up, there's some fog rolling in. So I'm going to be very, very quick. Take a quick shot of this, and then I'm going to go back to that original shot and see if I can capture that with the mist before it all goes. Quickly take this shot. Well, as you can see, I was rushing a bit, and I wasn't too sure about the composition when I was taking these photographs. But once I got the images home and started editing them, the more they have grown on me. I do actually quite like the branch cutting all the way through the centre, and as you can see, with a little bit more mist, it gives that separation to the background. So in all, I quite like it. And then making it into a 3x1 pano, I quite like that branch at the top that links over to the one on the left, leads your eye under it almost and into the background. And in both photographs you can see just slightly to the right is a focus point leading your eye back into the woodland. Well, this fog is and mist is really teasing me, I think. Comes and goes really quickly. I've taken another image of these trees, and we'll see what that looks like. But looks like I'm going to have to persevere and stay here for a little while longer and see how this develops. I was still struggling with the composition of this tree, and I think I prefer this to the other two images. I've made more of a feature of the tree itself. There's a little bit more separation due to the mist in the background. I've made the image a little cooler and brought out the highlights on the tree itself, so works a little bit better, but still not my favourite image. Well, just a short distance from where I was, I've come abruptly almost to the edge of these old oaks. And you can just about make out why. Behind me here is this boulder field, and all these twisted oaks coming out of that. And then in front of me to the right of your shot is some more open ground. Now there's still boulders in there, but obviously more fertile. There's silver birch here, and I think I'm going to take this image and maybe call it the edge or something like that. So I'm starting with this portrait shot of this tree on the edge of the woodland here. Looks really nice if I take you away from the camera, and you can see the oaks on the right and the birch on the left, and the bracken's making some really nice red colour over here. I think in colour, all black and white, that's going to work really nicely. And then let's have a look through the woodland here. As I said, if you look in the distance just there, there's this tree that really has some nice structure. Don't know yet whether to frame it by sort of having a more open shot here, something like that, or zooming all the way in and just using the tree. A little bit more fog coming in now, so let's get on with this photography. So this image at the edge of the woodland I do really like. Made a feature of this gnarly oak tree leaning to the left there, reaching its branches out, and you can see the small birches on the left almost cowering away. So I really like just the sort of composition and the story in this image. But this has got to be my favourite photo of the day, just the structure of this tree. I've called this one the spell maker. You can see the arched back of the image on the right hand side, the head in the middle, and all these branches reaching out, especially the one that reaches out from right to left, almost like he's throwing his arm out, throwing a spell. Really like this. Well, as I've walked back along this hillside, the mist I think is now well and truly gone. It's gone past 10 o'clock in the morning now, and although it's overcast, I think all the mist is gone. But I have stopped for maybe one more shot. This tree caught my eye. I think the poor thing's completely dead. All the bark is stripped off and it's covered in moss and ferns. But what a lovely looking image. So although I can't separate it from the background, I'm going to take the shot. I think I'm going to still leave it at f11 ISO 100, and I think that'll probably give me about a 1.5 second shutter speed. Circular polariser again to cut down on the glare from any damp wood that's reflecting. Let's see what it looks like. So as the mist was going, I used a few other tricks to try and separate the tree from the background. So again, I've cooled the image down. You can still see some mist in the background. I've also turned the clarity down, making it more blurred around the edges of the photograph, and put a vignette on there, which then makes the tree itself stand out a bit sharper. Okay, maybe just one more shot. I have seen this tree here. Now, when I was walking down the hillside, it looked really nice with the other trees behind, and the better angle to look at it is actually from here behind this little tree here, but unfortunately that's blocking that, so I've had to come down the hillside to look straight along. But it has a certain symmetry to the branches, and I think what I'm going to do is make a panorama just like that. Let's see what that comes out like. Just like the last image, I've used similar tricks of turning the clarity down around the edges and a bit of a vignette just to bring out the tree in the middle. I've not added any highlights. There was a little bit of light behind the tree, as you can see, and I think this 3x1 pano crop works well, taking away the sky and just accentuating those elongated branches. I'd passed this sheep skull as I walked down into the woodland. Someone had obviously placed it on top of this mossy boulder. The rest of the bones were curled up beneath a tree, obviously where the sheep had lain. But this certainly added a little bit of mystery to the woodland as I walked down, especially as it was quite remote. So I took one last photo, just moved the camera around, got it straight onto the skull, and at f8 managed to get the whole of the skull in sharp focus. Works much better in black and white, giving it a little bit more contrast and a little bit of a vignette just to bring out the skull itself. And a nice end to the spooky trip. Well, I have enjoyed that this morning, although not as much mist as I was hoping for. This wasn't the plan this morning. I was actually going to start a new project from around Brixham, which hopefully you'll see over the next couple of weeks. But the chance of a little mist and the opportunity to come back to this woodland, couldn't resist. Maybe not as polished a video this week because I rushed out and changed my plans, but if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give me a like and maybe subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. And hopefully I'll see you all again next week. But for now, cheerio.